I call the meeting to order and welcome everyone here this evening. The first item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, so I'll ask Jeremy Jeter to come forward and lead us in that. Thank you. Next would be the approval of the agenda. I want to add item 2 under new business, triangle J, and that's all I have.
Motion to approve with amendment.
Second.
All in favor? And the motion carries. Thank you. Come on up, Jerry. Come on up. Let them see who I'm talking about. Each month we recognize a student and a teacher from one of the local public schools, and tonight is East Wake High School. So this is Jeremy Jeter, and I'm going to read to you what the principal wrote. I believe it was the principal who wrote it, but anyway, I'm going to read it to you. It says, Jeremy is an East Wake High School senior. Jeremy has concentrated in the CTE, arts, and education programs at East Wake. He currently has over a 3.0 GPA, and Jeremy also interns at Carver Elementary and works with the kindergarten team there. He plans on going into education in the future and has committed to Catawba College to achieve his goal as becoming an educator. Jeremy is the founder of the PIF, Pay It Forward Club at East Wake. This club was established to inspire other students to do their best and spread positivity throughout the building. So congratulations and thank you. There you go. And the teacher is Charlene Adams. Ms. Adams is the math department chair at East Wake High School. She has had the pleasure of teaching our youth mathematics for the past 26 years. During her tenure, she has represented 2 schools as Teacher of the Year. Currently, she enjoys sponsoring the National Honor Society, serving as a process champion and school improvement team. Ms. Adams has led our students as the AP Calculus teacher and continues to work to prepare East Wake students for college. She goes out of her way to support and assist students and other teachers. East Wake is so proud to have a dedicated teacher like Ms. Adams.
Thank you.
Okay, public comment period. We have Denise Now that has signed up to speak.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, members of the board. Just a quick update for you guys. Thank you for all the support for our annual meeting. It was a great event, and I think a lot of people were so surprised that that would be such a fun place for the meeting to be held at your community center. So it was great. And Beverly, I know you've seen a few pictures. We missed you, but it was great because of you, our speaker, David Joyner, was there, and he did a great job. So thank you for your part in making that happen. Shepherd Green is having their grand opening on April 8th. I think you guys are aware of that. So that's another piece that's going to continue to help grow our community. And it's just been neat to see them, all the work that they've done. And I think that they officially opened right around Christmas time. And I think that maybe it was last week that they're already at capacity. So that's kind of exciting for them. Tryon Family Dentistry opened downtown today, so you should go in and see what they've done. It doesn't even look like it was ever a bank. It's pretty amazing. They did keep the safe, but the door is off, so everybody can get in, I think. And then also just a quick reminder that our partnership for May Day in Zebulon is coming up. That is May the 4th, and I think there's a lot of exciting stuff that you're going to hear about for that going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the consent agenda.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. New business, Parks and Recreation text amendment.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the board. Before you tonight is a text amendment to our ordinance to Recreation Department Advisory Board and also to the Tree Board. The proposed amendments will provide consistency to the operation of appointed boards throughout the town of Zebulon. The amendment will also provide current and future Parks and Recreation Advisory Board members with an improved understanding of their role and responsibility as an appointed board member. In anticipation of growing development in the town of Zebulon, the Parks and Recreation Department has assumed the responsibility of administering participation in the Tree City USA program. Excuse me. By reassigning these duties of the Tree Board to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, the town will encounter a more efficient operation of Tree City USA. The discussion before the board is whether or not to amend Chapter 31 concerning the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board and Tree Board as proposed.
You want to talk about what the amendments are
Sure,
in depth? Maybe a little more.
I'm happy to.
I mean, I know you covered it a little bit, but.
Sure. So the current ordinance provides a few brief descriptions of what the advisory board will do. It established, the current ordinance established the advisory board, and it also established that there would be a chairperson and states that they would develop procedures for operation. So what we've done is taken the current ordinance for the planning board, which gives a more detailed description of what the role of an advisory board is. And it also establishes certain parameters such as attendance, which is not currently in the ordinance for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. And that will allow for more consistency and more information for you moving forward. And as far as the Tree Board, that program, the Tree Board is a requirement as participating in Tree City USA, and it has been part of the Planning Board in the past. They typically vote once a year on the recommendation from staff on where to plant any trees that they plant for participation in that year. So those duties would come off of the Planning Board as the Parks and Recreation Department currently administers that. Okay. Were there any other questions?
Not for me, but let's see if the board had any. Okay, thank you. Okay, what's your pleasure? Would be an amendment to ordinance 2019-24, chapter 31.
I make a motion that we approve was it ordinance 2019-24.
Second. Motion made and second. Other comments or discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Okay. Thank you. I put in Triangle J. I have had some real conflicts going to the Triangle J meetings and feel like that we need a more consistent representation from the town. So I want to resign that position, and I have asked Mayor Pro Tem Clark if she would take it, and she has agreed to do it. So what I would ask is that you accept my resignation, and you can do it in one motion, and then appoint Beverly to represent us at Triangle J.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept your resignation and appoint Beverly Clark as the representative for Triangle J.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any comments or discussion? All in favor? And the motion carries. And thank you, Beverly, for taking that. I just, it's hard to be consistent for me to go to some of those meetings. My schedule is too conflicting. Okay, declaration of surplus property, fire trucks.
Good evening. I come to you tonight, as you recall, for our fiscal year, we purchased 2 new fire trucks, a ladder truck and a pumper truck, with the intent that these 2 vehicles would replace 3 of our current vehicles. I come to you tonight with 2 resolutions, and we'll hand them in individually. But to start the process to surplus these existing vehicles, our intent is to minimize the overlap between the arrival of the new vehicles and the surplus of the existing vehicles, so we don't have to store them and that kind of thing. We can move them to their new owner pretty quickly. So that's kind of what got us ahead as we anticipate the arrival of the new trucks probably in the next 45 days or so. The first one for your consideration is Resolution 2019-22, which authorizes public auction of the ladder truck. And to give you just a little bit of background on this one, due to a potential cost value of greater than $30,000, this item comes to you for approval and for your scheduling. So the resolution that's included here does meet the general statutes for the elements that the board must approve to be able to sell the truck through public auction. This is an electronic auction. The town has had quite a bit of success with that in the past, selling the large vehicles and that kind of thing. We did, for the last just over a month, we have been advertising the vehicle in a national publication through a broker. However, we have had no interest or no calls at all on that vehicle. So that's caused us to look towards the electronic auction. So with that, I'll answer any questions you may have, and you'll see the resolution that's attached that talks about the selling the vehicle on gov deals and that kind of thing.
Do you have reserve on that?
There's not a reserve indicated here. There could be, should that be the pleasure of the board. And like I said, we could just go. Our fear is that we don't know, what the truck is going to bring. We've been told over and over again by several that we're in a bad sales area because the truck is older than what most people who are looking for a used truck would look for. So we've been told not to get our expectations too high. But of course, we would want to sell it for as much as we could, which we think maybe a nationwide auction may help us to make that happen.
So it's hard for a small town to buy something like that. So
it is.
What will happen to it if we don't sell it, Chris?
So it would be our goal to sell it one way or the other, because I don't know what we will do with it if we don't. So either we can sell it without a reserve. Of course, it'll sell for sure. Then, if we establish a reserve, obviously we hope it will sell for greater than that reserve amount. I don't, as far as, if we set a reserve and then it doesn't meet it, I guess we'll come back to you, or maybe Joe may have some words of wisdom on how we handle that.
Well,
it's kind of like looking at a crystal ball.
We don't have to accept the bid. If we do not put a reserve, we can still operate with something in our mind as to what it might be.
Right. I would think if we want to establish an amount that we want to, that we will accept, we probably need to do that in form of a reserve through the Gov Deals format. That would be my recommendation. And Chris Ray handles most of the town's asset, getting rid of assets, disposal of assets, that's what I'm trying to say. So I don't know if he has any other, but my advice would be to use a reserve if there's a particular dollar figure we want to make sure that it sells for at least.
Well, I'm conflicting myself here, but looking at both sides, if there is reserve, you can go ahead and move it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, if we don't put a reserve on it, then the highest bidder, whatever that amount is, we'll get it. Because through the electronic bid process, without a reserve, and I'm going to look to Chris for confirmation, without a reserve, the highest bidder will be the winner of the item. It won't come back before the board for approval.
We have to sell it. We cannot reject
without a. That's my understanding. I'm looking at Chris, and he's nodding. That is correct.
Okay. Well,
thank you.
That settles that.
All right.
What do you think the value is?
That's a great question. I know what I think the value is, but unfortunately, both the company that has the vehicle listed for sale today and other agencies we've spoke to have told us that if we can sell it in the teens, we would be very lucky, as in $15,000, $18,000. They also said they would be surprised if it brings more than $20,000, which is, quite honestly, is heartbreaking, but that's just what the market will yield at this point. They told us if it was 15 years old, maybe 20 years old, there would be a market for it, but at the 30-plus market, 30-year plus, there's just not very much market for that type of vehicle.
So you're advising then 15 to 18?
That would be my guess. It may, on an auction, it may not bring that much. I don't know.
Well, no, but what we're trying to do is establish a reserve.
Sure.
I have no idea, so that's
right.
why I'm looking to you or Chris or somebody to help us here, what the reserve should be.
It's part of the bidding process, or you can't reject.
We don't have to establish a reserve. I mean, if you feel confident that we'll just get the best offer we get.
Well, I'd hate for somebody coming here at $2,000. I mean, that's my concern. It's worth that as an ornament somewhere in my mind, but, it's whatever y'all are comfortable with. I mean, I'm looking to y'all for guidance on this. So.
I think where I struggle is where I personally think the vehicle is worth, and what I think the market will bear. I don't think they match up very well. From what we're hearing, the market, $10 to $15,000, $20,000 is what the market will bear. I personally think it's worth quite a bit more than that, but I just don't think it'll sell in the range where I'm thinking. So,
when you put it on the electronic auction, you post the reserve, right?
Yes, sir.
So unless you get bidding competition, that's pretty much what you're going to sell it for. Obviously, if somebody's willing to pay that much.
Well, it seems to me that whatever you get for it in this case is better than having to put it somewhere here or do whatever we might have to do with it. So,
and Commissioner Beckett, that is our concern: is that the vehicle, if it doesn't sell, what do we do with it? We would have to, put it somewhere, and it would deteriorate in condition and be worth even less, or rent space to house it because we don't have anywhere to house it. So we could very quickly end up spending more money. And that's even more unfortunate, but that's the reality. I'm afraid.
You could turn around and put it and repost it.
We could repost it.
But I don't care.
It seems to me that if we have no use for it and we can, and the market is what it is with it, if we get rid of it, that's probably as good as we're going to be able to do.
Okay. Would Gladstone take it?
They have not been approached.
They bought it, didn't they? Mostly.
They didn't do that.
Not.
That's not correct.
That's right.
It's not. I thought they were responsible for the purchase of it or why we bought it because of Gladstone.
No, that may be why we bought it, because of the size of the building.
Because being a retired fireman, I never thought what a town like Zebulon would do with a truck like that till But, I hate for you to give it away. I mean, it could be needed one day. The downtown could catch on fire.
And make an antique out of it.
We could put it at community park, let the kids play on it, as far as.
Well, excuse me, as it stands, what you're wanting to do is put a reserve on it for the electronic auction, correct? Just as if Bob just said a minute ago, if it doesn't sell the first time, you can lower your reserve.
Right.
Maybe the second time it will sell.
Or do away with the reserve.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
I would just need you to let me know what you would like, reserve amount you would like to place on it. Because as the resolution is written, we wouldn't place a reserve on it. We didn't include that language in the resolution.
I don't really care about whatever y'all want to do. You want to put a reserve on it? Sir?
No.
We'll leave it open?
Yeah.
Y'all want to leave it open? Yeah. Okay, well, somebody make a motion to adopt resolution 21922.
I'll make a motion.
Okay?
Second.
Made second. Other comments or discussion?
Yeah, that's without the reserve.
Without the reserve, yes, sir. All in favor? All right, thank you.
All right, the second one is the rescue truck. If you recall, we discussed this as part of our work session. We talked about funding arrangement with Wake County. So if you recall, the ladder truck funding is not typically part of Wake County's funding model. They typically do not offer funding towards municipal ladder trucks. However, when we explained it, we had the desire to make this ladder truck had some rescue functionality in it. The county did offer to provide funding for the ladder truck. However, they had a desire to, if you will, buy out our half of that vehicle. We have purchased their half on vehicles in the past, but their intent was to take the money that they were placing towards the ladder truck and use that as well to provide funding for the ladder truck and to, if you will, buy out our half. So what you see here reflects that change. So I guess to put it in perspective, this vehicle is probably worth, and again, we're kind of in the same situation, but we would guess somewhere in $50,000 to $60,000 range. It's a 2009 model truck, so we own half of that vehicle. So they would like to buy out our half. So they paid almost $200,000 towards the ladder truck. So that's kind of the framework of what they requested that we do. So the resolution in front of you does a transfer as allowed by general statute to take the half that we own and transfer that to Wake County. Wake will in turn use that vehicle either as a spare that they can rotate throughout the county for any department to use, or various other uses that they've identified that they'd like to use that vehicle to meet. So with that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
We won't have to house it, Chris.
No, sir. They would take custody of the vehicle.
That's okay. I see that my answer.
Yeah, you basically answered my question. Any other questions? All right, what's your pleasure?
Chris, I got one more question. I'm sorry. Who will man this vehicle? Who will man it?
At the county level, the rescue truck?
Yeah. Or is it as needed?
It would be as needed. The county, and this may, I think, will help the conversation. The county a couple years ago did similar arrangements where they picked up some spare engines. So if we were to get in a situation where we had one or multiple engines that were out of service, the county would let us borrow one. Okay. They do not have a rescue. So they have a desire to have a rescue that they use as a spare. So if we had a need or somebody else had a need, they could say, here's a truck you can borrow, instead of trying to work out some type of rental or something.
Reserve, then.
Yes, sir.
Using reserve again.
That's right. That's right. This would be a reserve, yes, sir.
Okay. But that's all.
Okay. Looking a motion for 2019-23.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Other comments or discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I will just mention that I mentioned this was too. There is a third vehicle, and our intent is to bring that to you at your next meeting as we continue to work on the best way to dispose of that vehicle as well. So we'll be back with the third part of the puzzle at a future meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Public Works. Streetscape sign request.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. Tonight coming for you for your consideration of a placement of two civic group logos on our Welcome to Downtown Zebulon sign. You may recall we dedicated this sign this past fall as part of our South Arundel Streetscape project. The four original participators in this sign with their logos on it are the Rotary Club, the Lions Club, the Women's Club, and the Masonic Lodge. Tonight we have two additional nonprofit agencies that are looking to be added to this sign. They are the Zebulon Downtown Arts Council, ZDAC, and Miss Zebulon Organization. Since the sign has basically been paid for the modifications and the new, I guess, a placeholder and all, they will work with, these two civic groups will work with those existing ones and refund them a portion of their proceeds that installed the original installation. Like I said, these projects eligible for consideration. We have both groups are tax exempt, and the project consists of creating a resilient downtown by creating a temporary gathering space. One of the things, this will fill up our last 2 spots on the signage, but we do have the capability, and I showed you in your staff report, of putting three additional signs on each side. So if we have some future civic organizations that would like to participate and be on the sign, we have that opportunity at a future date. So we're not at capacity is what I basically want to share with you, that we can accept other civic organizations in the future. So with staff saying this is consistent with our streetscape policy, we're recommending your approval for these 2 civic groups to be placed on the sign. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
Any questions? All right, what's the pleasure?
I make a motion we accept the 2 organizations for the sign.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? Carries. Thank you, Chris. Now, Autumn Lakes.
Yes, sir. Tonight we come before you for your consideration of acceptance and maintenance of Autumn Lakes Phase 1 roadways, which is approximately 4,400 linear feet of new roadway. It's also the acceptance of approximately 6,124 linear feet of storm drainage. These dedicated or proposed dedicated infrastructure is valued at $1,069,491. Autumn Lakes has submitted, and I have reviewed and approved all necessary documents needed for dedication. Developer has posted a site improvements bond for the final overlay, striping, sidewalks that are outstanding, mail kiosks, and the conversion of the BMPs. These additional infrastructure that will be installed at a later date is valued at $509,000. Staff's recommendation that you approve Resolution 2019-24 accepting this new infrastructure from Autumn Lakes Phase 1. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
I've got this for both this and We Respond. But,
yes, sir.
The final top coat is not on there.
That is correct. This is the first 2 inches. That is
so
correct.
If there's any damage by the construction trucks going in and out before the top coat goes, whose responsibility?
The developer or the contractor is responsible for those repairs. That's pretty common. We've seen it in other phases of Weaver and stuff. And occasionally we do have a spot repair that needs to be made, but yes, sir. Before the final overlay is in place, we do a full inspection of that. Any repairs are marked out and repaired, and the final overlay is installed.
I knew that's what we'd done in the past. I just wanted to be assured that
yes, sir.
We were still doing it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Other questions?
Chris, why is the second layer so much expensive than the first? I was looking right here. 1.5 inches and says $8 a unit. Then it says 1.5 inches overlay and it's $16 a unit.
Okay. Oh, you're referring to the second piece there where we, let's see. Basically, what we have there is a situation in Autumn Lakes where we asked the developer to place additional bond because some of the roadway that on Crackling Court and Rustling Wave just fell right below our standards. And in the event that the roadway fails, more than a spot repair that the mayor was referring to, we had the contractor post a bond. And what you're seeing there is the milling of that asphalt and the replacement of that. So in Autumn Lakes, we have an additional bond for just in case that roadway does not hold up and meet standards.
Oh, I see now. Okay.
Other questions? Motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 2019-24.
Second.
Motion made, second. Other comments or questions? All in favor? And the motion carries. Okay, We Respond.
Thank you, guys. Very similar to Autumn Lakes. Tonight we ask you for your consideration for acceptance and of the maintenance of We Respond 3A roadway, which is approximately 3,087 linear feet. Storm drainage of approximately 2,946 linear feet. These assets are valued at $315,957. The developer has submitted and I reviewed and approved all necessary documentation for your acceptance. The developer has placed a development bond in place to ensure additional improvements for stormwater BMP, sidewalks, final overlays, estimated at $196,987. That bond, just like the Autumn Lakes bond, is on file at our planning department. And with that, staff recommends approval of Resolution 2019-25.
Question? For motion?
I make a motion we adopt resolution 2019-25.
Second.
Motion made and second. Other comments or discussion? All in favor? And motion carries.
Thank you.
Chris.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Dale, start with you tonight.
I don't have anything.
Okay, Don?
No, I don't have anything either.
No,
I'm good.
Joe, I just again publicly want to express our condolences for the loss of your brother-in-law.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
oh, hear about it.
A couple of public service announcements. This coming Saturday is the popular Community Recycling Day, so just make everyone aware of that. That's a very popular event. And then the following Friday, just when you didn't think it would be possible that they could come up with a sequel to Wreck-It Ralph, there's Wreck-It Ralph 2. Ralph apparently breaks the internet, so that's the following Friday at the community center. Once again, the popcorn is free and there's free bottled water. And if you go to either one of those events or any 4 additional events at Parks and Recreation, or you visit a park, or you come to Town Hall, visit the town clerk's office, or if you come to the police department to visit during National Police Appreciation Week during the week of May 12th through the 18th, or if you visit the fire department at Firefighter Appreciation Day on May 4th, or if you come out to Public Works, not only to Community Recycling Day, but to the Public Works facility for National Public Works Appreciation Week from May 20th to 24th, you will get a passport stamped. And if you get 12 stamps, you'll have a completed passport and you will be eligible for a gift card. So the first 3 that complete their passport are eligible for a gift card ranging from $100 to $50 to $25. This is part of our citizen engagement series to get people more engaged in their government, make them aware of the services that we provide to them. And then beyond the public service announcements, our next regular meeting of the board, May 6th, is probably the most important of the year. That's when the budget will be presented to the board. In 8-day cycle or 8-day increments following that, we'll have work sessions on the budget. With each work session, there'll be in-depth discussion on particular items of the budget, and there will always be an opportunity for public input on the budget presentation or even that topic that's presented that night. So those will be on the days of May 14th, 22nd, and 30th. And then there is the official state-mandated public hearing for the budget on June 3rd. And so I just wanted to make sure that the public knew about that. And with that, that ends the manager's report.
Great, thank you. All right, we have a closed session as permitted by North Carolina General Statute 143-318.1184 for the purpose of discussing economic development. Is there a motion that we go into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Great. Thank you, folks, for coming tonight.